Alrighty guys, welcome back to Star Wars Review. Today I'm reviewing Star Wars Issue 29, subtitled A Little Break, which was written by Charles Soule with art by Raymond Rosanis, and was released on November 2nd, 2022, which I thought was another solid issue, which sets up this next arc nicely, which will have some connections to the High Republic era and the High Republic publishing series. But in the issue, we see Holdo take Leia, Luke, Lando, Chewie, and Lobot on a vacation to the planet Qi'ra, to give the heroes a break from the war. But we see them hanging around the pole. I think there was a scene of Luke kind of practicing with the Force, and then Lando giving him a hard time. But we see Leia ask Holdo what they are really doing on Qi'ra, which Holdo reveals that she has a plan to get fuel and other supplies for the rebellion, which involves this auction on the planet, which later we see them go to the auction, and Holdo bets on this old Nile strike ship, but the curator of the Imperial Museum on Coruscant is also betting on it and isn't giving up, and Holdo doesn't have that much money, so she asks Luke to mind trick the curator. But Lando chimes in because he's had a run-in with the curator before, which we did see that in one of the earlier issues of this series. But Lando says if Luke's mind trick does work on the curator, afterwards the curator will eventually wonder why he lost the auction to a few people who match the descriptions of rebel fugitives. But Lando then also mentions that he runs the museum and most likely knows about the Force, so he probably wouldn't even fall for a mind trick, which Lando then tells them to let the curator win the auction as he has another plan, which we then see them do that, which later we see the curator in his hangar telling some stormtroopers to guard the Nile ship, as he didn't like the other bidders from earlier. But he then leaves, and then we see Luke attack the stormtroopers, which allows the others to kind of sneak in and make sure the other stormtroopers don't lock the ship down. But after Luke takes them all out, Holdo reveals that they didn't need the ship, but the Nile path engine inside of it. So Luke cuts a hole inside the ship, and they then take the path engine and head back to Holdo's ship, where they then hook it up and whatnot, which Holdo then reveals the full extent of her plans, which is to go after this Qi'ra convoy, which was a convoy of ships which went missing during the Great Hyperspace Disaster during the High Republic era, which I guess the ships jumped to hyperspace and then went missing, but did send a garbled distress call, which Holdo thinks they can use that message by putting it into the path engine, and then it might give them coordinates on where the convoy ended up, which the others think is a bunch of nonsense, thinking that everything with the Qi'ra convoy is just a fairy tale. And at first they're seemingly right, as when Holdo does everything she said, the path engine just doesn't do anything. But then the Empire gets onto them and sends TIE fighters after them. So we see Holdo starts to fly away and outmaneuvers the TIE fighters to get to space so she can jump to hyperspace. But during that we see that the path engine is starting to do something, and before Holdo can even really fully get out of the atmosphere of the planet, the ship jumps to hyperspace without her doing anything, which ends up taking them to no space, which was the location of the Nile's main base during Phase 1 of the High Republic. But that is where the issue ends, which, I've been into the High Republic story so far, so I'm excited to see where everything goes with this arc connecting back to the High Republic and seeing these characters learn kind of a little bit about it, and just to see what's going on with No Space currently, and if this Qi'ra convoy is actually there or what. I don't know, but all in all, I enjoyed the issue, so my grade is going to be a B+. But that's going to be it for this one. My next comic review will be Bounty Hunters issue 28, I think, so you can check that out then. But in the meantime, check out all my other comic videos and everything else to do. But I'm Star Wars Review, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.